All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining this week's Weekly Wave. For a couple of reasons, we're going to keep this call a little short in terms of me speaking on updates. So to get right into it, we do have a reminder. We have a couple of reports open. TLE has just recently opened. This is a report that the Teacher and Leader of Effectiveness Office does maintain. JC Smith is going to be your point of contact for that report. If you do have any specific questions in terms of getting your teacher evaluations entered into that report. And you do have until June 18th, 2021 to get that information uploaded onto the report. There has been an update to the guidance for that, and it's on the main page of the report. When you go and click on to the TLE qualitative report in the WAVE under state reporting certification. I know I don't have a bullet point about that report, but when these slides do go up, that will be in there. So it did open up on the 10th. So again, you have until June 18th at 11:59 p.m. to get those teacher evaluation scores and whatnot uploaded to that report. The graduation part-time Q4 report also opened as well. That opened on the 1st. So I'm a little behind on mentioning that that report is open. You have until June 8th to get that report completed as well. And just like the other 3 quarters, the counseling office is going to be your point of contact, and specifically Teacher Woodard is going to be your point of contact for that. Now, for the reports that I do have bullet points on, we do have 2 reports closing tomorrow. One being the demographic overlay, and the other being the dropout report. I know there's a lot of issues going on with the demographic overlay in terms of the students that are showing up as in find missing students. Right now, we are still pointing those types of questions to the accountability office. They are handling that. So if you haven't already reached out to them, please do so, and they will take a look at what is potentially going on in the background. I do know for one district that I did specifically talk to, we do have a solution for them, but for the rest of you, if you are seeing some students in find missing students that you are not sure why, I would get with the accountability office either through phone or email, just to get an idea of what specifically is happening with those students and why they are showing up in find missing students. For the dropout report, we are still answering questions with districts for that. So if you've previously reached out to our office, please be patient. We're talking to dozens of you a day. So since we're, again, a very small team, there's only so many hours in the day that we can verbally speak to you all. So since we're kind of getting closer to upwards to about 50 to 100 people a day speaking to us about the dropout report, please do be patient with us. We have gotten back to everybody who reached out to us through email up until yesterday. So we are getting back to folks today. If you've responded to us yesterday and today, we do have a few phone calls that we do need to make for that report as well. But if you've reached out to us through email about the dropout report in the WAVE, we will get back to you. We do have a very hard deadline of closing this report tomorrow. We are obligated to get this information back to the Department of Education. And so we really do not have a lot of wiggle room in terms of that specific deadline. I do know there are some issues with the dropout report, and I will get into that in the next slide, but I do want to move on to the ASR. There have been, to our knowledge, this report seems to be rocking and rolling. So continue to look at your calendars, looking at your attendance after your calendars are good to go, reaching out to state aid if you do have any questions, and to us if you need anything specifically looked into. SIS wise, you can reach out to us or to state aid. State aid has been doing a fabulous job of keeping a handle on this report. So keep doing what you all are doing on that. If you do have questions about your request schedule, when we're requesting for data from your student information system, we do have that posted on our website. And we do request for attendance and transportation only 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So if you're making changes anytime between then, you may not see those changes unless you specifically requested for them through our office or through the state aid. So on to the dropout report issues. The main issue that we're dealing with right now that is kind of out of your control at the moment are the changes that are being made through accountability. And when I say changes made through accountability, I am specifically talking about the Easy Grad and enrollment graduation updates. I have checked right before this call started, and we are still having this issue. So we're going to continue to work on this throughout the day. As soon as we are certain that we are getting the changes and are able to display them properly on the dropout report, we will go through and just manually clear any students that are remaining on this report for any site that is not already confirmed or certified. Obviously, in those situations, the data is locked down, so we should not be making any changes to that information. But for those of you who are still in progress with this report and you're waiting on the Easy Grad and enrollment graduation updates, those will be hopefully cleared out by the end of the day today. I'm just going to pause here just for a second. Got a couple of very long chats. Okay. If you are, just to circle back to the demographic overlay really quick, if you are reaching out to us only about the demographic overlay, please do include the accountability office as well. We are sharing the information that's being sent to our office with accountability. We may not be specifically CCing you on those every time, but they are being forwarded over to the accountability office. So to save you a step, I would, if you're choosing to contact us also, to also include the accountability office in that email as well. Okay. All right, there was a question about the ASR. The ASR, and really any report on the WAVE under state reporting certification that relies on current year data, and just in general, these reports do refresh every night, starting around 8 p.m. So if you're not seeing an update with any of these reports, we had a question specifically about the ASR. Then you're still not seeing changes that you made between Saturday and today, please reach out to us in state aid and we will take a look and see what's going on, because that is not expected. You should be seeing updates if you're making them at least daily, if depending on if what you're doing with the exit codes or calendar information. If you're doing things with attendance, like I said, we only request for that on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So unless you have a student information system vendor that has implemented some changes to send as you're making changes, the wave, that information, you're going to be reliant on our request schedule unless you've reached out to us and state aid, us or state aid recently in between those days. All right, and with the dropout report, the other issue that it's not necessarily an issue, but this is something that is problematic. We are having a lot of the questions that we're getting right now are related to, I have a student listed as transferred, but they're still showing up on my report. Why? And a lot of the reason is we're seeing a kind of a spike in STNs being created between districts for a couple of different reasons. And so we're having to go in and link those STNs for you so that those students can drop off of the report. The other issue that we're seeing here is needing to go about making on-screen data entry changes, but those seem to be getting handled pretty quickly after just walking those who've asked through it. So if that's your situation, that would explain what it is. If it's not, and you're still just kind of hoping that this will change overnight, and it hasn't in the last couple of days, we are still in the background trying to correct a lot of these STN issues before you have to reach out to us. But we can only move so fast. So if you haven't already, send us an email. That is going to be, like I said, the quickest way to get a hold of us. We can only talk to so many people during the day. So if you are calling, please leave a voicemail or just send us an email and we will get back to you. Calling and then not saying anything is going to be more harmful than it'll cause. It'll be more detrimental than it'll be helpful. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Okay, so to follow up on last week's call about some of the waiver requirement changes that I went through last week, we are still finalizing some information about students whose grades do not fit the A through F or 0 through 100 grading scales. These should be affecting mostly our elementary school students, but we will be finalizing and releasing a document at a later date for to explain what our stance is for students whose grades do not fit this this bucket here. These letter and percentages are mainly targeted at students who are taking any particular post-secondary course. But I can see where, like we mentioned last week, it can cause some confusion. So be on the lookout for that. We will holler from the rooftops when that document comes out. Just to remind everyone, we will be rolling over the wave starting on July 12th, 2021. We are estimating that we'll be offline for about 2 weeks. And so during this time, we will no longer be accepting full year 21 data. And when we come back online, we will be accepting school year 22 data, and going forward, that'll be the information that your student information system should be sending to the state. Okay. All right, there's a question about, let me circle back here. And while I'm reading these chats, I will answer most of these. Eric, are you on?
I am.
Okay, I will flip. He'll give you guys an update on the status of the PEBT application in single sign-on.
Sure. Right now, I'm working on the report with DHS's contractors, Google and SpringML, to provide a report using the Google Data Studio. What that report is just it's essentially a spreadsheet. It's using using data coming from the wave. Yesterday, Superintendent Hoffmeister said that the report will be due by June 11th, and she said June. What she meant was July. July 11th. July 11th is the day before we roll over the wave. So you'll have to do that before you roll over your data. Actually, let me rephrase that so we don't have any confusion. You'll have to complete this report before you can no longer send school year 2020 data to the wave. 2021 data to the wave. If you roll over and you can no longer send 2021 data, then you can't correct anything that may be wrong with PEBT data. However, if you ensure that your ASR is looking is perfect and all your attendance is right on that, and your calendars are correct, and then you make sure that your free and reduced statuses are as accurate as you can get them, knowing full well that some parents didn't fill out the free and reduced application due to free meals this year. Just do your best to get those as correct and as accurate as possible, and put that information out to your parents if they believe they should qualify for PEBT, and they haven't filled out a free and reduced application this year. They should do that before you roll over and can no longer send 2021 data to us. Then you should be okay with PEBT. You shouldn't have any problems. However, I am seeing a lot of issues in the data with different situations, and those are mostly people using the wrong attendance codes. They're using they're using the DVAP and DVA when they're also, the students also have a base admission of RV off or RV on. We can work around that. I'm not going to worry about that too much. We'll work that data around on that. However, if you didn't change your basis of admission all year long, and you've been in 4 different types of educational environments, or a student's been in 4 different types of educational environments, and what I mean by that is they've been virtual, and then they've been blended, and then they've been in person, and you've never changed their basis of admission. I really hope that you've been using DVA and DVAP all year long for that student, anytime they were in a virtual or distance learning environment. Otherwise, you will have major problems with their PEBT. So at the end of the day, if you just make sure that the basis of admission is right, and the attendance is correct, been reported correctly to the wave, and your calendar is reported correctly to the wave, everything else should fall into place pretty easily once the free and reduced status is correct too. Everything else should be fine. I've been troubleshooting this report for, well, probably 4 weeks at this point. I do expect it to be coming to a close and being able to release to you guys by the end of next week. Please understand that for those that are losing staff over the next few weeks, there is funding available. If the school chooses to, through the child nutrition program, to extend or create or hire folks to come help with this report, specifically this report. So please take advantage of that. Please take advantage of that money that is available. Definitely. Okay. So the data is coming from the wave, Linda. So it's whatever you have in your so the things that we're looking at are attendance, demographics. It's on the screen here, and it's just whatever's in the wave today. So if you change the data today, it'll change today or tomorrow. It does not run through my data. It goes straight into this report. So it's not an overnight process. It should not be an overnight process. Anything else? Any questions on that?
Eric,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Tara. I need a clarification. Yesterday on Joy's call, she specifically said about us still trying to get free and reduced applications from any parents who didn't turn one in until the end of school. Are we allowed to have parents sign date an application if it goes past our last day of school if we're trying to do this report?
As according to US Ag and this PEBT program and FNS, the answer to that question is yes. You can even hire someone to work full-time or part-time, sit at your district and accept those forms for 2021.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we could go past the last day of school. Thank you.
Yes. Yep.
And to just verbally answer Angie's question here, for students who are not in the cohort 18, 19, or 20, if they're still remaining on the report and you have any documentation that would help our office and to get them off the report and not have a back and forth between us and you, you can send that to us. There is no way right now on this report to submit documentation like you're used to in accountability reporting. Kind of like I said in previous calls, we are very sorry about the timing of how this report came out. This will not happen again. We will not back you guys up to expect you to get all of this done with a couple of weeks to do it, with a handful of other reports that you are required to do. So we will have a much better process of getting all of this information in a timely manner, with plenty of time to meet our deadlines and not overburden all of you. So like I said, again, if you are still, if you do still have some students on the report and you haven't reached out to us already, please do so. We do have a good chunk of you to get back to if you've reached out to us this morning. So just bear with us. We will get back to you today. Eric, there is a question for you in the chat about where you can find guidance later on all of this in terms of PEBT.
Right now, Margaret, it's in my head. So I'm building it out as we speak. That will come that will come next week on our weekly wave, and I will send it out in the admin newsletter. We'll also send it out to our listserv. So if you're on our listserv, you'll get it as well.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and stop the recording.